Hey, beings. You are listening to the Self-Tivity Podcast. I am your host, Danny, your self-investment storyteller. Today's episode features a special guest who will be a valuable participant in our Being to Being Self-Tivity segments. The Being to Being segments are a fun way to connect with beings who are open-minded, enjoys thought-provoking questions, and perspective-shifting concepts. I also invite entrepreneurs and business owners who have a thought, product, or service that contributes to our self-investment journey in the areas of personal growth, mindset, well-being, entrepreneurship, and or financial empowerment. Guests will participate in our Being to Being Self-Tivities bi-weekly, so be sure to follow so you don't miss out on all the fun. Let's find out who's on today and what self-tivity experience they will present to us.
Are you ready? 'Cause I am.
Today, I have a special guest on the show. I have Daniel Chan. Daniel is a full-time magician and can be described as an investor, innovator, and illusionist. As an internationally renowned, award-winning magician and mind reader, Dan Chan presents the world-class magic and mind reading. Based in San Francisco Bay Area, Dan is regarded as one of the world's top virtual magicians and performs at events for thought leaders and influencers. Daniel Chan, welcome to the Self-Tivity stage. How are you today?
Doing great. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you for being here. So today, everyone, I am excited to play the Thought ER game with Daniel. I have had a few guests come on the show and play some games with me that is supposed to get us to know them a little bit different. Today, we are playing Thought ER, and we're going to play it a little differently than we have in the past. I'm going to present Daniel with 7 different quotes or statements, and he's going to have 1 minute on the clock to respond to each individual statement. You can't see it right now, but I have a little indicator for Daniel so he knows when he has 10 seconds left, and then I'll go on to the next statement or thought. Daniel, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. First thought. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. Other people's perception of you is a reflection of them. 1 minute on the clock.
Our outer world is a reflection of what is manifested from the inside. And it's like planting a seed. You don't see exactly what comes out until you plant that seed and it starts to grow and it blossoms out. But in the beginning, you never know what happens because a seed, you can't differentiate a seed very well. I mean, unless you're in that industry, you can't differentiate something until it grows out and until you see it, for most people, I think. So it's really important to guard, one, what's inside, which is in your thoughts.
All right, awesome. Next phrase, making your own magic. How do you respond to that? 1 minute on the clock.
How do you define magic? For me, magic is defined many different ways. One is career, one is amazement and amusement. For me, when I first started magic, there's a lot of different ways to get into it. I was like a clown, a balloon twister, a fire juggler. Now I'm a mind reader. So depending on different stages of where you're at, magic can be different to everyone. For children, it could be something that's silly. For adults, it could be something that they can't figure out, or something that to them is this freak out moment. So one is, how do you define magic?
All right, awesome. Next phrase. Don't wait for the right moment to start and make each moment right. 1 minute on the clock. How do you respond?
Yeah, I think we feel that something has to be perfect before we get it out there. Like, I did not feel comfortable as a public speaker, but I said, hey, I'm going to go out and be on as many podcasts as possible. And some of these podcasts I wish would be buried, but you just have to start and you have to go out there and do it. And next time it's going to be better. I want this podcast re-recorded and I want the questions beforehand. I feel like deer in headlights. If that's an option, I'll be like, hey, let's re-record this. I mean, you have to embrace failure and you have to find safe places to fail.
You're doing well. You're doing well. All right. Next phrase. Magic has been used to evangelize, or magic can be used to evangelize.
Pass.
Pass. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next one is magic in Christianity.
Oh my gosh. You've got to talk to my mom who...
And there's no right or wrong. I just want you to express how. When you hear magic, you hear Christianity. Where does your mind go?
You know, in the Bible, Joseph was considered a magician or a wise man. Same with Daniel in the Bible. But I think there's a difference between magic and sorcery, which is in Revelations. But I think the context of the word changes over time. So even in the Bible, the meaning is different. Like Daniel was the chief of all magicians, if you read some of the translations. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. I actually wrote an article about that on Quora. So look that up.
I will. I definitely will. I wanted some of your articles. You're really fascinating. All right. Next one. Technology and magic. 1 minute on the clock. What's your response?
There's a quote from magicians that say any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic or something to that effect. I think it's an overused trite quote, but technology can catch up to magic. And technology is like magic because it does things that we don't understand technology. We use this internet, we use Zoom, but we don't know how it really works. There's the 1% of people who know how it works. Same with magic. Like when I show someone a magic effect, there's only a percentage of people in the world who know it. We understand magic on different degrees. We can go on YouTube. We understand technology on different degrees. So in that way, it is full of mystery.
Awesome. And since we passed on one, I have another one for you. And this is the last one, psychology and magic.
Psychology and magic is interesting because we make assumptions. For example, we make an assumption that right here, it's impossible to solve a cube instantaneously. But as a magician, you've made assumptions of what you've seen. And what you're actually seeing is different. One is it's not CGI. There's a lot of things that you've made assumptions with in the past that short circuit what actually happened. And the reason why I'm kind of ambiguous about it is I don't want to give away the secret because there is something, if I talk too much, I don't want to lie to you and I also don't want to give away the secret.
Yeah. I love it.
Part of the magic is people think that what I do is all fixed. They think that what you're doing is completely magical. So they assume that everything's perfect in your world.
Yeah, and everything.
And we put up these masks and layers that show, hey, this is great. And sometimes we show a little bit of vulnerability so that people get drawn close. But I feel like there's a dichotomy between how perfect your world should be and how much drama there should be. So
that was awesome. And that pretty much makes this entire podcast fit in because I came on here flustered as well. Like I'm always I'm in the middle of like, hey, be yourself, which is sometimes I stumble over my words. But like when I'm in my zone and I'm doing data and marketing, I'm on a computer, like no one can tell me anything because it's just a part of like something I invested so much time in. But the other part of me is that I'm just kind of loose and very fun and weird. And people say, well, how could someone be weird like that, but can really create conversions, for my marketing campaigns, So I understand what you're saying for sure. So we can do two things. We can start over and you'll have some of those questions in the background or
just to kind of like maybe go through some of these or give me other questions that are similar on this so we can practice.
Yeah.
So just why don't you try giving me a couple more of these questions that you've used in the past so I can kind of get used to this game?
Yeah. So what I've done is I've created questions before the show based on the industry that they're in. So some of the questions are going to be based on someone else's. But I think I have one. Let me pull up these questions. I have some questions. All right. This is the next quote. Happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder. 1 minute on the clock. How would you respond to that?
Happiness is elusive, yes. You might think someone's happy when they aren't because in this world of mask, people are all struggling with something on the inside. So it requires you to connect with a little bit of vulnerability and not be perfect so that others can see that you're struggling with many of the same things. And embracing our imperfections is something that will bring happiness to others because they can see that we too are in often the same position. Regardless of me calling myself the Millionaires Mentalist and you seeing the outer shell of that versus me with my scratchy throat today and feeling under the weather and being sick. I feel even more happy now in these couple of days than I did when everything was doing well, just because I've taken some time to slow down and reflect.
Love it. Next one. Pain is a pesky part of being human. How do you respond? 1 minute on the clock.
Pain. Yeah. For me, pain is overextending and doing things that I sometimes shouldn't be doing or doing too much or being in the wrong place or doing something way too early. When I was training acrobatics, they said that there's a thing about pain or weakness. I forgot what the quote is, but it's about something leaving the body. I think everyone knows that quote, but pain is for me overextending.
All right, here's the next quote. And you are welcome to agree or disagree, but you are just responding your minute. Making the bed is a pointless chore. How do you respond?
When I was in the United States Coast Guard, we had to make our beds. And there's a lot of people who talk about that being the first thing in the morning that you do that you can feel good about. But I think it's more important to have a routine that you do every morning and measure those routines. Like for me, the first thing I do is go on Duolingo. And then the next thing I'll do is go on chess.com to do the daily puzzle, because that's my focus. I said, I'm gonna improve in that one area. I think the bed is just an example of being consistent, doing the first thing that you want to focus on right out of the gate. And the first thing that we do is we get out of bed. Whether it's washing your face or brushing your teeth, it's what do you do consistently to achieve the results you want.
Awesome. All right. Next quote. Social media is evil. How do you respond? Again, you're welcome to agree or disagree or just respond how you feel. 1 minute on the clock.
Social media is evil. I think some of those algorithms in social media are measuring the wrong metrics. For example, when I watch one MMA fight video, it shows me a whole bunch of them and I'm like, and then shows me a whole bunch of train wrecks. It puts me in this place where I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to watch people fighting. And I see some videos where it says, wait for it. And you know, it's extending the time to 3 minutes. And I'm like, dude, this video could be literally 30 seconds and I would like it. I hate the Facebook algorithm because they're measuring the wrong metric. I want to be delighted whether it happens in 30 seconds or 5 seconds. The more distilled it gets, the better. But Facebook and whoever's at Facebook are measuring the wrong metrics. And it's more about culture and what they value. And they just have to figure that out. You know, like I love Instagram. I love the fact that Facebook has these things that says on this year, 3 years ago. It reminds me of great memories. That I think is positive. But other things in that social media feed or the news feed or video feed, yeah, you might say it's evil.
Yeah. Well, I guess it does depend. Oh, wait, we go back in the game. I started thinking in my own head. I think it depends on the user, right? Technology is a very powerful tool. It can revolutionize the world. But what's happening, in my opinion, is that we're not, as the users, creating the experience that we can to optimize the value of technology on our lives. I believe it can eradicate poverty. I think it can really heal the world. I feel like in the sense of AI, like some people are afraid of it, but what if we had AI so that we can be more artistic and we can have time to raise our children more intentionally and we can connect with people without having to worry about the dollar bill. Like in cryptocurrency, it's something that's, we're afraid of it. It's volatile. It's all this craziness. But the technology, if the user is in control in a mindful way, an intentional way, it really can revolutionize the world, I believe. And I remember, and I talked about this in a video. I'm saying this because I just did a video on NFTs, and I was talking about Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King was pretty much sharing in the 1960s about the technology that they had and how it could eradicate poverty. And like, we have way, way better technology now, and we still have a lot of the issues in the world that they had in the 1960s. And I just wonder, is it really about the technology, or is how we as users interact with that technology? And not just the users, but those who are in charge of the technology and how they influence the users. Like, we both have to take accountability on how we experience something that can actually be, good. But it's an opinion that I'm still exploring and researching, because I know I'm idealistic with the concept, but I keep thinking like it really doesn't have any, like, it's the same concept with people who are, for guns or not, for guns. It's not really about the gun itself. Like, the gun can sit there by itself. Technology can sit there by itself, but the user creates the experience, right? So what do we do with the technology? Now, social media gives me a headache, right? But social media is also an opportunity for me to connect with the magician, to connect with you. And I can create how often I'm going to connect with people who are on the same path as me or who want to also impact a mindful world. And then I can also say when I want to get off. At the same time, though, when I'm looking at social media, I'm like, this is just crazy because all of the users on social media are making it crazy, right? Or what would you say? I know this has nothing to do with magic, so I didn't want to go too off track. Did you want another quote or?
Let me do one magic effect for you, and then we'll do one quote, okay?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So I'm going to describe to all our listeners what's happening. And let me first preface this with a quote. Your thoughts determine your actions determine your habits, and your habits determine your destiny. So it's important now more than ever to think of positive thoughts. So I would like you to think of a self-tivity quote or just a very, very short phrase. And I just want you to think of that right now. Okay? I've committed myself to just something short. What is it that just came to mind when I asked that question for you?
I am loved. That's the only thing that came to my mind.
I am loved.
Yeah.
So for everyone else, I have committed myself with this here, which is a card. And right here, it's been in full view the entire time. It says, I am.
How did that happen? Wait.
So before this, I wrote something down. She saw me write something down. And I had that card in full view.
Oh my goodness, that's so weird right there. That's so crazy.
And you can definitely tell that's Danny's reaction. If you want to just see what she was reacting to, you're going to go straight to her YouTube channel and check out that one effect to learn more about what I do.
Now, this is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like, entire life. How did that happen? Okay, so I was distracted, right? Or something. Because magician is about, I've read it in your article. I know it was 3 elements. It was distraction and 2 other things. I forget now. So what happened? Was I distracted? How did I not see that happen?
I don't think you were distracted. Everything happened in real time. I didn't stop time.
Yeah, you did it.
I showed you the card prior and I kept that in front of you. And then you were making some assumptions, and some of the assumptions were, there's some things that didn't line up completely, but in a sense, that's the most perfect illusion that we can have that gets you to think. Like magic, you can Google, how does this work? How does the linking rings or cups and balls? But with mentalism, the type that I'm doing is so new, so cutting edge that people don't understand this. And to me, this is the future of magic, because it's not about like me doing a trick, but I'm actually in your head, right?
You're in my head, definitely.
I'm doing something that is a thought that you were thinking of. And, before I started, I looked down, I put something down, and then I put this right here. And from that point on, nothing moved.
You want to know what's so fascinating about this? That you really can create an illusion that is positive, right? Or an illusion that is impactful for your world. It's really like mind over matter. Like, I have no idea how you were able to get those words on the card, but this is so crazy to me right now. But just the whole idea that like it was there. Like, who would expect it to be there? It can be there. The illusion of it, your illusions can serve you, right?
So emotions like that can't be faked. Like a lot of times we know like some magicians, and I'm not going to call them out by name, but some magicians use things where it's fake. And, they're using video editing. They're using a lot of other things that make it fake, but your reaction is not fake.
Yeah.
And you can sense when someone is really amazed, regardless of the methods. Certain magicians, they'll use other things and stooges. And when you obviously aren't a stooge, that's why you were like, oh my gosh, to me, that is the selling point in magic. There's visual magic and there's puzzle magic. And then there's magic that transcends, where you feel like you might feel the tingling sensations, or you might, and you can feel that emotion, right? Watching this again, you can see yourself.
So crazy.
And some people want to figure that out, but some people want that to just be a memory that they take along with them. Regardless, whether you want to figure it out or you just want to have it as a memory, it's memorable because you won't forget the person who did that effect for you or brought you to that one place. The first time you felt that, it's like what I call like, a magic virgin. It's like you see something and it's the first time that you've had that.
The experience is so telling. Like, I even think about the idea of us always wanting to know the answers. Like I said, hey, was it distraction or what was it? But at the end of the day, what feeling was created is more powerful, right? Because that feeling is going to match up with a truth. Like if I feel good, I can be good. You know what I mean? Because the feeling that was created. But I always have to know where that comes from, or I can create it like you did. You can create the experience for other people with the tools and resources that you have. That's what I love about just the world. Like right there.
Did I ask you about my Kickstarter yet?
Say it again.
There's a magic venue in Hollywood, and I'd like to make this a reality in the Bay Area, whether it's a pop-up or a different version of it. But there's some cool illusions that people would have to come to me. It's kind of like Disneyland. You can't can't expect Disneyland to go to you and get the same experience.
Yeah, for sure.
For the last 20 years, I was going out to people. Yeah. I want people to come to me and be a destination and travel from up around the world to come to me. That's really high end. So that's my dream. And that's something that
I'm down for supporting it. You created experience for me today. And you really solidified some things that was happening all week, just the where I was in my world. And to have your episode be today was divine for me. So I have no problem. And I don't want you to feel uncomfortable with promoting yourself. You know, like that's really what I want to be able to be to other people, is being a source to people where they can grow their dreams. So this was amazing. I want to kind of get to the self-activity statement and maybe
let's do it.
Share a little bit about who you are and what you do. And you want to put your website link and everything in there.
Yep. So let's do it.
So, Daniel, before we end the show, I would like for you to share a little bit about how people can connect with you so they can learn more about like your awesome technique, your awesome talents. I don't even know what to call them, talents, techniques, are just the experiences that you can create for other people. Please allow people to know how to find you. Share yourself.
You can check me out on Instagram at danchanmagic, also at danchanmagic.com and millionairesmentalist.com, millionaires plural. And that shows both my virtual work and what I do live.
Awesome. And if you could be so kind, I have everyone come on the show. They cannot leave the self-activity stage without sharing their self-activity statement. So Daniel Chan, what is your self-activity statement?
My thoughts determine my actions determine my habits, and my habits determine my destiny. So I guard my thoughts in order to create the destiny I want to achieve.
I love it. That was so perfect. It was so perfect because the action was the garden of your thoughts. He said exactly what he wanted to put out into the world, and then he had an action behind it. Everyone who's listened to the podcast for the first time, the self-activity statement is, what is it that you want to put out into the world? What is your mission for the world? But you had to couple it with an intentional action statement. I once long ago read an article, or it was a research study about affirmations, and people weren't able to align with their affirmations. And I wondered why. And I started to think about all the creative things that I could do. And I thought about the self-activity statement because we can not only speak what we want, we have to apply some action to support it. Just like that supporting sentence for the main idea. And I want to thank you, Daniel, for sharing your self-activity statement, for sharing your gift, for sharing your talent, for sharing your time with us today. And I hope anyone who is listening or watching, I hope that you guys will watch this on the YouTube channel, because this has really changed my life. And you know why it changed my life? Because this week for me, Daniel has no idea what my week has been. He has no idea what I've been studying, what I've been learning about, what issues I've been going through for this week alone. Out of all the years I've ever had in my life, this was the most life-changing week. And this has really stapled so many things for me. This experience has stapled so many things for me. So I want to thank you, Daniel, for being here, like for being a part of my experience, for creating a great experience for me. And I hope that you guys will connect with him. I will share the same links that he shared with us today in the description, or if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it in the description box. In the podcast, you'll see it in the show notes. And I hope there was a return on the investment of time, guys. Until next time, hold on to you as much as you can. Hold on to your health, your being, and your mind. Be mindful.